Hello everybody, welcome to our webinar series. This is webinar number 3. I'm here at our headquarters in Sofia, Bulgaria. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening, probably it's around noon at your part of the world. I hope it's sunny outside. Here we have a little bit of cloudy weather, but we'll talk about different clouds today. Cloud2TV. It's been a popular word, people talking about it, different implementations, and so on. But today we'll show you our version of cloud TV asset management and content management, and how you can integrate it with your Playout existing situation or building a new channel and so on. During the presentation, I won't be able to answer your chats, but you can always ask your questions. My colleagues are standing by, our salespeople, our technical engineers, hello, and they will be able to answer the questions after I finish with my presentation. I will open the floor for questions, and then we can go over all of this in details of whatever you like to learn and how to assist you in your workflow. All right, so cloud, it's a web-based, which means we're going to open a browser. Opening a browser, I'll just close myself here so you don't have to look at me on the screen here. As you can see, I'm on in a web browser, in a web page that look very much like a desktop. Even if I go, if I open my browser full screen, it looks exactly like I'm on a desktop. So that's the goal, to feel like you're working in a standard, desktop application, and you can do the tasks pretty much the same way you're accustomed to do with the desktop applications. So I'll go over the modules and the parts of the platform, and later on we'll see examples how to manage media, how to ingest media, how to add metadata, and so on. Metadata is crucial in this type of application, and I'll go into more detail over this topic because nowadays the playouts are more and more media centric. So all this extra metadata drives automation, drives content, and so on. So we'll focus pretty much on this subject. So first, we have admin console, which allows us to manage how many channels I have in my organization. For example, I have 2 channels here, how many users. You can give different rights to these users, which means roles. So one user can be a graphic designer, so he has access to the graphic editor. You can go and be person that does scheduling, on-air operator, so on. So this is very flexible, and you can assign proper roles. So this system allows you from remote locations, multiple people to work at the same time on different parts of the project, like scheduling, ingesting media, tagging media, adding metadata, and so on. So that makes it much simpler than if you have one server Playout, so single person can access it at a certain time. All of the activity is logged, so you can always take a look and see, for security reasons, what happens and how it's been accessed by whom, and so on. Another module we have is Transcoder. This is a tool that allows you any asset you bring into the system to ingest to run through transcoding process if you want to, which means we'll take it and let's say from whatever format this is going to be transferred to a specific format that you decided to use in your system, let's say for stability or something like that, or you using another video editing system that you like the files to be in a same format, so it's easy to video edit, and so on, to bring them back into the system. Here you have the list of the tasks, whatever was scheduled, so is it finished, and so on and so forth. The other module, quality control. This is a very useful tool that you can create different presets and run the files through a media checker that will check audio, video, ancillary data based on whatever like if what's the aspect of the ratio of the file. If it's said that only you need 16:9 media to go into this file, then if the file is not 16:9, it's going to be flagged. So you know how you have multiple choices how to react. I'll show this a little bit later when we're using it in an actual scenario of ingesting. All right, or on the audio part, you can measure the loudness, and let's say the tool will generate a proper metadata, and the file level will be corrected during playout, so you can fulfill the requirements, let's say, to the -23 or -24 loud LUDB for your broadcasting standards. In a different country varies, but you can just fulfill that requirement. All right. Of course, I mentioned metadata so many times, and the other module that you do definitions of what type of media. Let's say I have cinema here. You see, I can assign genre that I can easily, from a drop menu, assign these metadata tags to assets. So you can define in colors how they, some color that corresponds to this, so you can have a visual feedback. And you can do as many as you like of those type of metadata tags. You can add a lot of data here that you can easily associate with a piece of media. All right, so I'm going to show you now the media browser, which is a centerpiece of this system, obviously. The way it works, I have the channels of our organization, which is called demo, because I'm doing demos here. As you can see, I have a bunch of folders, which we call bins, and they can be delivered to, I can ingest something into the system the simplest way. This is a folder called images. I have a bunch of pictures here, but I also can put movies, the images is just descriptor for me. When I can set auto import media, which means I can map a storage folder on the media storage of the system. Anything like a watch folder, anything that you deliver there, let's say via FTP or other means into the system, it will be ingested automatically into the proper bin. Also, if I open the properties, you can see that I can select QC template. So let's say I will say run the template test. The transcode, I'll leave it to inherited parameters, which means whatever I put into the upper level, let's say the channel, I can assign some parameters, QC and transcode parameter templates for the channel. They automatically will apply to the subfolders. Or if I want something specific on this folder, I can assign it here, obviously. So let's say I will go out to full screen. So you can easily, from my desktop, I can take a file. Let me find some file. I'll just drag and drop it. You see that I have the blue outline on this whole bin. So this file will be ingested into that bin. But let's say I can have more than one media asset more than one file to a media asset. And if I select, let's say, this video clip, so the blue outline is on this video clip, I can add additional media to the same media container. So if I decide to drop it now, it will be inside this file, so they can go together, but I can drop text files that, let's say, have a transcript of what the interview in this file is and so on, and can be used in a different ways throughout the system. But just very nice way to organize everything you have. Anyway, I'll just drop the file into the bin. As you can see, the file is getting ingested. In a second, the thumbnail is going to be generated, and I'll be able to have things like a preview. Even here, as you can see, I can drag straight on the icon, and I can have a scroll preview. So for now, look, this file, I'll just update my view. You see I have a thumbnail, but I have a red outline, which means something did not meet the quality control requirements. So this file shows me that it has some issues there. File has on purpose issues just to demonstrate this. And I can go to the file properties and I can force it, because I know the file is fine. I just, for demo reasons, I forced it, very crazy tests, so it's impossible to fulfill it. And I will say, no, apply that it's fine, the file, and now you'll see it's already yellow, which indicates that manually was approved by an operator or a person that runs the system. So that's another way. If the file is passed through the test, we'll have a green outline. Another very, very cool feature, as you can see now, I have the media container, which has the main file, which is this one. And then I have the proxy that is created. This is what I see in the web interface. Main asset is the main file. So when I'm dragging into playlists and I'm using this media, it will be this main asset. I can have text files, as I said, or pictures that go with this one, and any system they can make a use of these, can be used from the media asset management system here. So why do I need the proxy? I need the proxy because I can go and open a clip trimmer, and right now I'm using, obviously in the web, the proxy file, and I can go and scroll, do in and out points, I can do trimming, but also another feature is I can go, like this thing on the upper part shows me the in and out points that I do on this clip, but I can go underneath and select one point, and then I can select out point, and I can do different zones this way. So as you can see, now I have two zones in the file. They start with a different variety. Why this is useful? This is useful, let's say, to take a movie and split it into the logical parts where you insert the commercials. So the asset is one film, one video file, which when I'm dragging to the playlist later, you will see that I have this different zone indicated, so I can easily put the advertising, let's say, in between the different parts of the movie and so on. So another option is to go and I can go and deal with different metadata with this file, add, edit, or so on. I can put expiration date, which means after this date, this asset will not be allowed to be included in playlists. How many times this file can be put in the playlist, what category, genre, different tags that will help me to do search here in the system. I can search, throughout the whole media library and so on. Who is involved, for what country, description, add different parameters and so on and so forth. Like I can either select things from templates that's let's say for sport, English Premier League, that immediately populates metadata like sports, football, United Kingdom, so on and so forth. So this is another very, very useful feature that you can easily, with few clicks, add tons of predetermined metadata and easily make the best possible description for this piece of media, and you can later on use it very quickly inside building a playlist, schedules, and so on. So this is how the media browser works. You have different information here, who modified it, metadata, so on and so forth. What are the test results that this passed? What's the original title? I can rename the files and so on and so forth. So let's go and start doing some scheduling. We have our media. It's tagged, metadata is added, it's organized in different bins and so on. Also, one more cool feature that it's worth mentioning is, let's say if I have this file, but I'm not sure something about, let's say I want to consult with somebody, is this really the file that I have to use on air and so on? I can select the file, and I have a share button, which will allow me to give it expiration date on the link, give it a usable name, let's say, check it, the expiration date will be till 18th, save, and I'm getting a custom link that I can send via email or chat or something to somebody. They can, if I copy this link, okay, you can see I can just put it in a, paste it in the browser, and it will prompt me to download a file directly, and this file will expire at the desired date. And so this is very useful to communicate and collaborate with other people outside of your system. Also has layers of security. The link will expire and so on, so it's not out there, you know, publicly available and so on. All right, so we go into the scheduling part of the Cloud2TV application. First module is Program Schema Manager. Why we use this? This is a tool to allow us to create templates for each day of the week. So this is the program schema. The editor decides how a particular day will be set. For example, I have Friday, and there is a program 1 and program 2. The morning program is the morning part of the schedule, where for example, when I set up the channel, I said the channel will start at 6 o'clock in the morning. This is when we count as the new day, the start of the program, for example, for this channel. So it starts at 6 o'clock and then shows me a gap because I didn't put any media there yet. And then let's say I have a movie at noon. It's another portion of the programming, let's say from noon till 4 o'clock, and so on and so forth. And this, I can describe all of this as templated, and that will be very easy to recall when I'm doing schedules for that day. Also, I can add certain files there to be part of the template. Let's say just to be able, this is my like opening logo or something. Oh, for example, this is the file that I used before. Let me remove it. I'll use it as another part of the demo. But let's say I will put this one. So I can have an opening logo or something like this. So all these files can become part of my template, which again makes my life so easier. I just need to fill the proper changed content for the particular day, episodes or news or whatever necessary, advertising and so on. So let's say I will save this template right now. And I'm done for this particular day. You can do this for every day of the week, obviously. And now we come to the playlist manager. This is where I select my channel. I can go to the organization, and let's say I will do a schedule for a day in the future. Let's say the 19th, the Friday, which I created a template. So I will add a playlist. I title it Webinar 3 Cloud2TV with the name of our demo. Start time at 6 o'clock, duration 1 full day, 24 hours. So I will select the date. This is the 19th and save it. So now, as you can see, I got a template here from my schema manager, and I can start immediately. As you can see, I have this little file that I put here. It's already part of the template, and I can start adding media and doing my schedule. For example, I'll go and place the file that I've shown you before. Just a sec. And you will see how this file will be added to the playlist. Just 1 second. I didn't My mouse is playing tricks on me. You have to select exactly where you want to put it. Okay, so I have an opening file, and then I put a file that I have two zones. So this immediately shows it to me as a 1 and 2 trim parts, and I can see it. Although I dropped one file, you can see I have two different parts, and now I can put in between them commercial, let's say. So it makes it very easy to deal with this stuff, right? I can select different folders. Let's say I'll put some music files. For example, you see these files, they're all red, so they didn't pass QC. It will not allow me to put them into the system. So I can go and select, I say, something from sport, put it in this second part of the of my program, and so on and so forth. Makes it very easy to do and populate this. Let's say I'm pretty happy here. I want to go and I can do move up, move down, you know, delete, insert, and so on. Let's say I want to put some secondary events. I said in between these two files, I put this one as advertising. So let's say I like to put logo off event in the container of this. So when the advertising starts, there's a logo off event, and then I will put a logo on event back, you know, onto the next file when it continues, for example. So you can add nodes, you can add any secondary event, you know, supported by the system. So it makes it very, again, easy and flexible to deal with it. And at this point, I will say, guess what? I'm happy with my schedule. I'll just save it, and maybe later on I'll come back to it. I'll do some more file addition, and I'll save it again. And I have a history. So actually right now you will see I have two different saves of this playlist, so I can revert to any of these stages, which is again handy thing to be able to go and revise previous version of this playlist for the schedule for the particular day, or select, you know, if you work on certain version, two different versions for that day and you're still not sure which one you will use. I can export this list into Excel file or CSV, comma separated values, and this can be used by third-party system, traffic system, or something like this. Or the best part is I can publish it directly to a pre-designated folder for my Playout, PlayBox Neo Airbox Playout. When I push publish, first I have to approve the broadcast. So without this, and if I don't have the rights to approve for broadcast, I won't be able to do this, you know, this action. And you can see underneath here gives me messages that there is a gaps, obviously here in the playlist, because I didn't fill the full 24 hours, which is fine. Why? Because as you know, Airbox Neo has a mechanism to fill gaps in with a predetermined autofill content to fill any discrepancy in the playlist, even between playlists. So my playlist is not full 24 hours. It will fill with some looped files from a predetermined content or a live source. It will fill the playout if files are missing or my schedule is short. When I said live, I can also have live source as an asset. So I have a live one, which is description of a live input of the playout system, and I can just drag it and drop it into the system. And that also is very handy feature to be integrated into the system, so I can describe live sources. The person that does the schedule doesn't need to know the technical aspects of this. Once they're described in the system, he just decides here's a live source. I can go and deal with the properties, duration, you know, predetermined duration, description, what type, is it a commercial, news, sport, let's say, because when you're selecting these categories, if you have some asset missing in the playout, then the autofill logic of the playout will be able to fill with the proper category fill-in files. Another thing using the metadata associated with these files is, let's say, if you have graphics, which is important part of any broadcast. Typically, all the graphics is, the majority of graphics, you know, on a predetermined scheduled playout is done by graphic rules that we have, very powerful tool in Airbox Neo. Together with the title box, the graphics are created by pre-made templates where all the metadata is populated, let's say, from in a music video scenario, the name of the artist and the name of the song is pulled from the metadata with this asset that is, let's say, the name of the file or some other data that you decide, or maybe some pop-up information for this song, like a historical information and so on. So that's the way typically a graphic works, right? So I will save this playlist again. And yeah, that's my playlist. And let's say for now, yes, I want to save the changes to this playlist. So I will just show you if I have to do quick graphics last moment. I need to add, let's say, some breaking news or something happens that I need quick graphics because something happened. I can easily do this by selecting, let's say, object picture, which immediately opens my media browser, and I can go to images and I will select, let's say, breaking news. And I have my breaking news picture here. I can do, let's say, a nice rectangle for my text information. And also I can kind of make the color not translucent, but I can make it very red to draw attention because it's breaking news. And let's say I want to add crawl text on the top of it, not static text, but crawl text, which will allow me to have a crawl object here on the top of this. So I can go and type news flash, for example, something link mode, and you can add, you know, deal with a couple of parameters around this text, and I can save this. Hold on, let me just save it. Save project. I can save it for which channel? For my PlayBox Neo TV channel. The name will be news flash, you know, simple parameters. And now I can look at my bin, and you can see I have my news flash module that I can take a little preview. This can be published straight to the system, and again, it can be pushed on air easily. Let me go back to my schedule. I published the playlist. Let me just make sure that I have this. This is my demo. This is my playlist. I'll publish it one more time. I probably didn't save it before. Let me see in history. I'll go to this one, revert it. Yes, this is like one version that I decided to use. Okay, this is it. Save it, publish it, approved for broadcast. Okay, so now the playlist is pushed towards my playout system, and I'll switch to another great web application, which is our multi-playout manager, which allows you to monitor multiple servers right on air. And keep in mind, this the media asset management portion can be installed. I'll talk about the infrastructure installation of this cloud application. There are many options in the infrastructure, how it's deployed. And also your playouts can be in a different place. Nowadays, we can always create these secure connections. Proper files will be transferred to the proper location. Multiple locations can be, sent in the same time. You can have other insertion playlists sent to a different location and just be activated this way and so on. So I will just go here. This is my 19th playlist. I'll load it, and as you can see, I have all this stuff that I had scheduled, and I can just press play and it will start going on air. This is a very convenient way to manage the playout after scheduling is being done. So let me just close this for a second. I'll open the chat so I can see what you guys asking me. Just let me just finish one more thing to mention about how do you deploy this cloud. How do you deploy this cloud application? It can be private cloud, totally secure, just for your organization. You can use public cloud, which is Amazon, Microsoft, or Google, let's say, to mention a few. There are so many of them. Or you can have a turnkey system just in your office, utilizing the same workflow, but just locally between your machines. You can use it as a platform as a service, software as a service. It can be offered in many different ways. So let me just, Dario Peck, hello, Dario. You actually, this kind of finishes my presentation. I open the floor for questions and answers. So Dario Peck, hello, Dario. So right now your browser is connected to an Airbox machine, or this application hosted in an offsite cloud location. It's actually the scheduling part that you've seen. The Cloud2TV is hosted offsite in a cloud space, and I upload files, and it has a media storage there. And when I publish the list, the published list is being sent to the Playout machine, which is in another location. Actually, it's in the next building from here, where our Playout servers, demo servers sit, and SafeBox transfers the necessary media automatically in the background, so the schedule is there. It will be automatically picked up as a daily playlist, the typical logic. And the multi-playout manager, which I did a demo in our previous webinars in more detail. Basically, I can see all of these machines. This is the one that I just published this schedule and this playlist, and I can monitor it if it plays, if it doesn't play, and I can have multiple servers. Obviously, you can have a timeline view, what they publish and how this stuff works, But the main thing is all the complex schedule with metadata and everything is being generated, published, sent to the server automatically in background. All the media is synchronized depending where the location is of these physical assets like server, storage, playout. And you can have from a simple interface, mobile device or a laptop or a computer, you can have access to this, which makes it very flexible. I mean, nowadays, one thing is optimizing workflows, which means multiple people can work on different roles in this whole process. It's not one man show, a little bit your structure, let's say, gets a little bit more, bigger structure. So you have all these tasks assigned to different people to perform. Or as a disaster recovery scenario, I mean, there is a lot of situation when something happens with the building where the people doing the programming and stuff, they have to move from there, evacuate, or power failure or whatever. Nowadays, you can expect pretty much everything, and they can easily move, and with the simple internet connection, they can continue scheduling, making changes for on-air or program, schedule, off-air, for day, month, week ahead of time, add last minute assets, include last minute media into the playlist if things develop, and so on and so forth. I just want to mention, because I keep referring to some previous demo, we have, this is, as I mentioned, webinar number 3. You can go and look at the video recordings of the previous 2 webinars. This one from today will be available tomorrow. After we finish, it will be uploaded, and you can see it on this page. So go to PlayBox Neo website and check it out. Also, I encourage you to talk to your local representative, or just talk to our support broadcast pre-sales engineers here, our salespeople. They can absolutely help you with the proper workflow, with the proper advice on your updates, upgrades to achieve the desired workflow that you're currently trying to set. Maybe you have currently PlayBox Neo server, you just want to add feature, or you're starting brand new channel, and with this platform you can literally remove all the technical guessing and have all the necessary part, not even putting one computer at your premises, and it can be deployed for you very quickly, and you can use it in a different user base, like part-time, full-time, usage base, or just talk to my colleagues. There is a lot of information. It's very hard to cover everything, obviously, because everybody's situation is unique, but we love that, so we try to tailor it as much as possible. As I was showing, depends on what your workflow or how many people are working in your organization. Even if you're a one-man shop, you can greatly benefit from this, or up to a large multi-user, multi-site operation. You can easily take advantage of this workflow improvements. So I don't know if there's any more questions. I'm available to answer them right now, or if you GPI, I mean, you can add Fernando Taibo. Hello, Fernando. You can add GPIs as a secondary event, and if there is a GPI connected to the Playout server that is controlling something, let's say even SDI router, all of these commands, it stays. It's a standard thing. You can just add it as a secondary event. You know, it's a control. It's just a control of the system. Currently, I just had a couple of secondary events, obviously set here, but I can set up everything I want to deal with. So this is absolutely the way you do it in typical Airbox Neo scenario. You just go there and do it same way. You just add new secondary event. You can name it. You can select which plugin, UMC, graphics, stop view, return, node, you know, all of this. You can select, you can add some information, start, or whatever that action is pretending to this plugin, and it will open the plugin. Let's say I'll select the logo on off again. I can open the plugin, I can see its parameters, set it up. If it's a GPI, it's GPI. It works the same way. Maybe, hello, Fernando. Maybe use the same codec files, or should we transcode for cloud? No, you can use the files as is. Transcoding is optional. Transcoding is absolutely optional. Typically, I mean, our playout systems handle pretty much. We try to make it sure that every codec out there that is being widely used, you know, putting aside the obscure ones, but any popular formats, MXFs, MPEGs, AVIs, MPEG-4s, blah, 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 with different containers and, you know, encoding parameters, can be used straight on air. That's not a problem. The transcoding part comes if you wish, let's say, to unify the media for whatever other reason. Sometimes maybe you have a person that can just do craft editing, let's say in Adobe Premiere or something. So they need to have the files in a different format to be easy for them to, let's say, do quickly edits without too much rendering and so on. You know, so that's another thing to consider in your organization. Depends on how they work, because this media asset management can work for them too. Yeah, you can use easily XDCAM, perfect. You just drop the files as you've seen. When I drop this file from my desktop, it didn't get converted because I just told him to run QC test, but it's an MPEG file or a MOV file that I have just drag and drop from my desktop, or transfer any of the other ways I described to FTP or watch folder and so on. So definitely no need to transcode. Transcoding is a feature that is just available, depends on the scenario that you try to achieve. Yes, as my colleague mentions, for example, there is only one, the one transcoding that happens by default on the system is to create a proxy file, as I showed you here, because that's the only way I can see in a web browser the actual media. Let's say this one, I can just go and do preview and all of this. This is a proxy file that is created. So you can see that I have this media container for this file, which has the main file, as I mentioned previously, the MPEG file. This is the file that will be the default asset that will go into the playlist. But I also have the proxy created by the system automatically in order to have these previews, to have the clip trimmer and so on. So this is something that the transcoder works for anyway. But if I decide, I can have more formats to be transcoded to if I decide to do so. Let's say you're ingesting 4K media, but you want to make HD proxies, and the HD proxy to be your main proxy. Why? Because you're shooting 4K. You want to keep the 4K files as sources always in the system, but you want to actually, for your broadcast, you're not broadcasting 4K, but you want to keep the source material in 4K for your video editors to use it, let's say, for compositing or whatever features. And that's a perfect use of transcoding. So you transcode a different version to use for broadcast, but the actual file is 4K file. All right. I realize again, a lot of everybody's workflow is completely different, and it's very unique. So that's why I keep repeating this. But keep talking to us. We can help you. We have a lot of experience with different scenarios. You know, PlayBox Neo has been deployed in thousands and thousands and thousands, close to 20,000 servers, playouts, graphic branding channels around the world. We've been almost 20 years in business, so that's a lot of experience, and we're here to share it with you. Also, I'd like to thank you that you're attending these webinars. Unfortunately, this year, all of our trade shows that we go and see each other face to face got canceled, but we're trying to do the best from the situation and have, you know, keep the communication going, keep understanding what you need, and we love to share what's new with us, what's you know, new products, what new things we have in store. Yes, reach to your local representative, and you'll get the best information right away. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Again, check out tomorrow if you catch the webinar a little bit late, if you log in a little bit late, or you missed some portion of it, or you like to go and view it again. It will be published on our website. You can go and see the playboxneo.com, and you will see this is what upcoming webinars are scheduled, and you can see the previous one down here and view the file for your reference. I'd like to thank you, wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you at our next webinar, where we'll see what we'll discuss. We expect some feedback from you. Please write to us if you have topic that is very interesting, and we'll consider it, if you have a lot of questions about specific topic. If not, somebody will contact you directly and try to, answer your questions. Have a wonderful day, and that's all from me for now. See you next time. Bye.